Hello and welcome to another day of Odin's Day, the day of our Lord. And again, welcome to another stream. I'm Gingerbill, and today we'll be programming some Odin. I'm not particularly sure what we'll be doing. This is not planned, because planning is for suckers. That's what you need to do, right? Planning things ahead is for suckers. So, what shall we do? Is the real question. First off, what we should probably do is post this wonderful thing to all of the correct, what's the best word? Not correct, but the important social media places. That's the word. So let's get going. I'll make this a little bit bigger so people can see it on stream. That's probably better, especially with my 1440p display. A little bit of like 8-point text is not going to be good for most people, even though my eyes are good. Yours probably not good on a YouTube screen. So how is everybody doing? Good. Good. So I wanted to actually do a minor discussion for someone. Dying? I'm not dying yet. Probably, I'm planning to live forever anyway, so I'm okay. So there you go. No need to worry. Just gonna drink. No, you're dying. Oh, please don't die. Please don't. It's not good. Not good at all. And again, as always, please check out the Burke's wonderful little thing here. Go to this same thing, but here go to the Burke. I'll put the thing, if you're watching it live, go to here, and you'll be able to see his wonderful thing that's live, so you can see it's much better than the default thing. Again, it's clearer, nicer. Everything is hunky-dory. So, let's get started, and I'm not sure which way I should start today. Should I go straight to WASM, or should we talk about some of the discussions of certain topics, or do some compiler work? And there's one or two things I know that we need to do on the compiler, but not much. And also some really big things as well in the future. We could start tonight, but it's a bit boring. I kind of want to do something fun, because I've been doing boring things all day. So fun things would be fun, as the word goes. Yeah, the boring thing I'm talking about, yes, that's right, as this drunk Dane is saying, Michael. Yes, debug info for the compiler of the new LLVM backend. I know, but it's boring. Look at Mech Games. I know, I could do that. Ah, yes, I don't know what accent that was, but we could make games. We could do it in WASM, in the web browser. Now, one thing I want to do is I don't want to do that silly generator again. I want to see if I can just load the WASM file by start. So what I'm going to do here is say export add. I'm just going to do the same old boring thing that I did last time. Yeah. Because this will prove we've got an add function. Now, we have got the generate WASM file here. This is effectively the wasm.html. That's the correct accent there. But the problem is we don't have the WASM data here. Now, the problem I have is I want to load a file. Now, someone told me this doesn't pop. The same old boring. This is not boring. Hey, I very rarely work on this. I literally only work on this on the streams. Debug information is really boring to do. But we could do it. Look, okay, I know. Clear. Planning is for suckers, as I was saying today. We could do the LLVM backend stuff for the debug. But as I was trying to, well, we can do it, I'll explain. So this is this text is a little bit probably too big, even for me, even for you guys. So we've got all the different debug information going on here, yeah? And we can set all the different stuff. We can say which dwarf information we want to be. I don't know who's the best one to choose because clearly we're none of the above. So because we're none of the above, we could just cheat. We could just pretend to be C99 and be done with it. Or we could pretend to be Go or something, or modular 3. Because modular 3, wait, there's a modular 3? When did that come out? Modular 3, sorry, I'm on my Wikipedia. That came out in 1988. So why the heck is this in version 5? So, yeah, that's not making sense. But you can see what I'm trying to do with the debug information, and I don't really understand it, because all I want to do, essentially, is saying, okay, here's a scope, create a new scope, bang. And then create some variables as I go along with their names. And here's the memory address for that variable and its type. How complicated is that? Like, seriously, how is that a complicated thing? And like, I'm looking through here all this, and I don't know how to use it because there's not really much documentation on it. I'd rather do this on a day where I'd sit down and I understand what I'm doing, because this is not simple, and it'd be very boring for the people watching here. It's not a very fun stream if I just read through and I was trying to figure out how the heck does this library work, because it's not simple. Because it's all over the place, and especially since there's all the different type functions, and like this is am I saying this is silly? But okay, so hello, welcome people to the stream. Am I saying that this is stupid, that they have to have special like types for the debug information that's separate from the LLVM stuff? Now I can understand some of them, like your union, of course, but wouldn't that just be a struct type with? It's like I have to create. It's now I've got 3 different fucking type systems in the language. Sorry for my swearing, but again, I don't want to do this for the time being. I kind of just want to do the WASM stuff because I want to do a proof of concept showing that I can get something decent to work. And what I mean by that is effectively actually showing something decent and showing that, hey, Odin works in WASM, we can do this now, it's pretty cool. Not just that, but also we want to get away from HTML and JavaScript and CSS as much as you can. Like, we can just work in a sane language. It doesn't even have to be Odin, just any old sane language will do. So again, I'd rather work from this at the time being. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to have 2 windows open. Let's open this in the browser. And put that aside, inspect, so we now got the console on the right. And now it says there's no file here, it's empty. So I need to find out, I'm just having it on the side here so you don't lock the screen up. JavaScript, read file. I want to read a local text file. Okay. I'm just going to copy this from Stack Overflow. I very actually use Stack Overflow, but because it's something I have no idea what I'm doing, it sounds like not the worst idea in the world. Those are some magic numbers, aren't they? And then I read a text file. So then what do I do to get the data from that text file? Or is this a really bad? So Chrome doesn't allow local files to be read. Really? Seriously, I know this is a security reason thing, but even one local to the same directory. I sometimes just oh, that's the yeah. It was just too right. Odin WASM. Let's just do let's do the Python old trick. You're right. The Python trick might just work. HTTP server. Yes, let's allow access. We're on port. That's so now. Now we've got. Oh, we need allow file access as well. Yep, sorry, I completely forgot about that. Oh, fuck. So. Python HTTP server allow file access. No, allow file access from files. Is that right? What? No. Oh! I know what I've done wrong. It's for Chrome, isn't it? You're right. No, you're right. That is for Chrome. But let's just do Python. Let's seriously just host it locally. Can you see how silly this is? It's simpler just to run a Python command and just load it in like there. So now I need to do is read file from URL. So I need to read a file from a URL and convert it to this. Now we all know that is of course such a complicated thing in the really complicated because reasons. Have I used so questions? We've got loads of questions tonight. It's very good. Have you used Odin in any project? Yes, I've used it in many things, to be honest with you. But my general idea is I was going to have a generator. I could always just use the generator thing. It's not slow. And the generator I had previously would just read the file, write out the bytes, and then be done. Yeah, let's just go back to the generator thing. It's a hell of a lot simpler than even the, not being rude, even the Python thing. That's why I did it originally that way. Generate WASM. Like so. Oopsie-daisy. So now we've got generate WASM thing here. I'm just going to set this as HTML just because the rest of the code is pretty much done. We can then go run generate WASM so then I've got this generate WASM thing. I'm going to take in all of that. So we need you to read a file, write entire file, read entire file. So this is going to be main.wasm, and then we've got wasm.html, not wasm test in this case. And now I've got a bug. That's actually brilliant. So now we've got a bug. Have I just introduced a new bug into the compiler? But wait. Which one caused that? Yeah, it was this one. Okay. So what we need to do is remedy bg. I need to change, let's just say new session. Let's get rid of that. Shit, I shouldn't have shown that, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, there's not much in there anyway. What am I looking for again? Can't remember what I was looking for now. No, I know what I was doing again. Sorry, I can tie that out manually, can't I? Doi. Doi. And then we've got Odin. Run. And then we're just going to do Odin WASM, generate WASM, like so, LLVM API. Oh, no. I just told you to do that. Whoops. Says executable not found. Interesting. Do we do that? That's the right working directory. Yeah. That's the right command. What did I introduce? I clearly introduced a new bug. It's like a really new bug. Yeah. Yeah, so my working directory is that one. It's technically that one. Okay, so what is the cause of this bug? So we have a statement list. Causing a statement. Aha! In this case, I'm storing to a value that even though it's been existing, it's an empty value. I'm just going to doubly check that. No, this is a new feature that I added. And it's the results data yeah, look at that. The value is nil. So even though the value hasn't got anything stored in it, yeah, that's something. Remedy works with subst directories very well. I like W, I like using it for just work, and I usually use other ones as well, but it's just simpler than writing the flipping whole thing out. That's why I like subst. I know what the bug is in this case, luckily, and we can check to see which function causes it. And in this case, it's something like data. Aha, it is that. And okay, so I know what I've done wrong here in the actual. I've made a really bad assumption actually in the new LLVM backend. So it's only in the LLVM backend, not in the other one. I don't think. Yeah, it's not actually. So has named results, and it's for when I'm doing the return statements here. So we can do lb emit conversion. Pass p for the parameter. That's the proc, and the entity type, and then res is that res there. But then for the next one here, emit conversion p e type. Now I have an idea that'll probably still crash, by the way, if I run it. No, it doesn't. Yeah, that's where the bug was. So it was invalid, but it was valid. So Twitch does maintain them, but I've been doing them to YouTube now because Twitch requires two-factor authentication, which is fine. But I've just been having issues even setting that up correctly, which I do have set up. It's just, and YouTube is easier for some reason. I don't know why YouTube just works, but it does. No, actually, no, let's not do that. Let's cancel that. So now that I run it, it works absolutely hunky-dory. There's no problems whatsoever. So let's just build Odin in release mode so it goes a bit faster. Right, so I'm going to actually, I don't want to go on too much of a rant, so you should use, someone's saying you should use two-factor authentication everywhere you can. My thing is, I agree with that in theory, but in practice it's a pain in the arse. When you literally have hundreds of accounts, two-factor authentication is probably worse for me security-wise. Now, that may sound like a really contradictory, but if you don't have your phone on you or anything else to do the two-factor authentication, you can't do anything. You're screwed. And it's not really actually, usually most two-factor authentications aren't actually more secure. They're just like, oh, you've enabled this, great. If you've got nicked someone's phone, you've got access to it. Like sometimes you have to get onto phone unlocked. It's like, I don't know. I know people say yes, of course it is, and you're talking nonsense, Bill. But I'm like, yeah, but from a user standpoint, it's a pain in the arse. It really is. So it's only a bit faster then. Okay, so now we've got this running, and then the generate WASM happens every time, and we get a thingy. It's a technical term, is a thingy. And we're then going to run. Let's make the text a bit bigger, sorry. Let's make the text bigger, because you guys wanted bigger text. That's what you wanted, right? Bigger text. Oh, I know what you want. I'm just checking to see ad works. Yeah, ad's working. So we got everything back again. This time I wanted to see if I could do the old trick. So the WASM thing that I had is we had a render loop here, okay? But the render loop effectively is not correct. So I wanted to see if you could do rendering without going through that render loop again. And we have all of these things here. I'm just going to go back to this stuff here. The WASM Odin. And we've already got all the WASM stuff here. So we can just copy and paste that. Whoops. And now we've got a code generation bug, which is actually good, to say the least. So render loop I set to be non-terminating, and yeah, I'm finding bugs, by the way, in my own code. I know what that bug is caused by as well. It shouldn't take long to fix. Again, this is put compiler developing in there as well. It's a new feature with for diverging procedures. So it's under end procedure body, and what I do here is I end a return statement. So if the last one isn't a returning statement, but that's the wrong thing to ask, is terminating. So I need to get end body. If the last one isn't terminating, then we're just going to add it. Now I want to add this a little bit further up, like quite high up, to be honest with you, because it's a nice little utility function. So I'm going to build that again, run that, and now it works. So now if we go back and then we go again, let's build Odin in release mode. We don't need stuff. Come on. I know release mode takes some time. I know. There we go. We can refresh it. And this is what we had from the stream last time. Like we got a runtime error in apparently unreachable, but it's in the main because I've got this render loop, and the render loop says it's non-diverging, and it's probably thought it was. So if I run it, it's now working fine. It's got a loop, whatever. Yeah, and it's compression killer as well. I know. Perfect. That's why I called it confetti. But for the most part, my idea of this render loop, I don't actually need to do that. And I'll explain what I mean by this. So the render loop is I technically just need to have request frame animation. Yeah? And we get the current time. And we just need to have one in there. And it doesn't need to keep being called. So I'm just going to say call this as request frame. Yeah. And we're not going to call it render loop. We're just going to call it request frame. Yeah. So we have one. And it said it needs to be callable, does it? Oh, but idiot Bill. Generate.odin. So set that to be HTML. In here, if we set this to be request frame, we've got the Odin context in there. The only difference here that I'm going to do is just call it once. Now the reason why I'm going to call this once is because then I'm going to do the infinite loop on that side. Yeah, that was a bad idea, Bill. Cancel. I probably have just killed Chrome now. Yep, I've killed Chrome. That's actually pretty impressive that I killed Chrome. Okay, so the idea, I thought you could probably just ask for a new request frame and it would be able to do what it does. And apparently, you can't. And so people are asking me why this is, so someone's asking, I wonder why the snotty parts of the video are affected though. Okay, so it depends on the codec. So different codecs will do different things. So to explain it simply, most codecs you'll see on streams are not lossless, which means they will lose information, they're lossy. And what they normally do is they have kind of a combination of usually a couple things, but the two main things which you'll see here is they'll segment the screen into chunks. So they'll work on like a chunk basis. And then the second thing they'll do is delta compression. So they'll only change what things have happened from the previous frame. So these chunk-based compressions, well, that's what will happen. So if they're having to do a lot of differences and they cross over the chunks, then there will be compression. So it depends on how big those chunks will be, if that makes any sense. Okay, so the render loop, interestingly, is completely asynchronous. So this is probably not the best way of doing things, but I'm now going to get rid of most of this code. And what I mean by this, most of this, I mean just most of it. Because what I'm going to do is let's get rid of all that. So we get rid of the fill rectangle, the blip things. Yeah, we can get rid of all that. Because what I'm going to do is going to be a load of fun. And when I mean a load of fun, we're going to be doing WebGL. And I've never used WebGL. But from what I understand, I might be able to just do this. So WebGL. And unfortunately, there's a hell of a lot to get WebGL working. So I kind of need a tutorial on WebGL. I know OpenGL enough to get by, so it should be enough, right? Like, for instance, the basic 2D WebGL animation example is way too much for me. I actually literally need simpler than that. All I want is to render a triangle without even requiring well, maybe not even needing a shader. Not even that. Can I just blit different colors of the screen? So like, I don't even want a triangle. I just want what's the word for it? Yeah, I just want something where I can add it to the stream. Like, I've got a canvas. Now I need to grab the OpenGL context, yeah? So we can get the canvas, yeah? Like so. And then get context. Now, is it WebGL like that, right? Yeah? So if I do that, oops, meant to be a comma. we can then do it. So this is one thing many other languages can't even do, but Odin just does it like flawlessly. Like, I mean literally flawlessly. So we can have clear color, RGBA, is it F32, isn't it? And then we can have clear, and I'm guessing this is a U32, like so. So GL clear color. I always like doing this lovely sky blue. It's one of my favorites to actually do as kind of an example. And then clear, we need GL color. Now the problem is GL has already been taken. So this is GL, I'm going to make that say, sorry, it's GL lib. Actually, what we can do is create a new package. GL.Odin. GL. Lib GL. GL, like so. Import GL, and then I've got this color buffer bit going on, yeah. And color buffer bit, well, I don't know. Let's say for WebGL, sorry, it's on a different web screen, but again, I just want a big list of all the constants, and there are loads. Like, can I just have a big list in like a spreadsheet, please? Like, that would be a hell of a lot nicer. I just want somewhere where I can... Okay, someone has been literally wonderful and got them here for me. So if I go constants.odin, package GL, and technically it's package WebGL, so let's just put WebGL in there. Someone's done this. Now this was, I've just found it on the internet. Someone's very, and I mean it's very, very close to being Odin. So let's just do all this. Do that. And hey presto, Bob's your uncle. We've now got all of the constants defined. There's no need for the functions to be defined, and now it's done. It says an legal invocation of something. Now that's interesting that it said it is illegal, but WebGL, let's say clear color. Yes, we could make them into enums, but actually this is one thing where I disagree. I don't think they need to be enums because it's WebGL. They don't actually map well to the enums. If that makes any sense. For instance, this thing here, the clear, I don't know which one's the illegal call. Is it the clear color? Looks like it might be actually. Yeah, it's an illegal invocation. What does that mean? Thank you. It's an invalid point. Yeah, we got the mains of the thingamabobs and the thingies. I just don't know what that means when it means it's an illegal invocation. So I was trying to see. I didn't try this last time. We just experimented a bit. But what's the problem? For instance, I would have expected like a GL. We can look at the types like we can do here, and I've got all the types written down. Let's just write them down anyway. GL enum is an unsigned long. Great, what's an unsigned long mean? I'm not even joking. What does that mean? Because we've got, this is effectively the different types. Oh god, it's tabs. Just I hate it when people mix them. I mean, like, fine, keeping them. keep them using them, but just don't ever mix them. Okay, so shorts we know that's an I16. Longs I have no idea. Bytes a byte. Unsigned, don't know. Unrestricted float. It's an F32. Unrestricted float. F32. Unsigned. It says youth. It's a short U16. U32. Signed integer. Int. I'm going to guess it's an I32. Boolean, I have no idea. So let's say bool. I32. Oops, that's 64. Like, what's this one meant to be? I'm not doing that. I'm just trying to figure out what they are. Like, I don't know what... let's just get rid of it. Because, look, I thought this would have been correct, to be honest with you. That's why I was a little bit like, what's the illegal invocation when I was just setting the clear colour? Have I not done something correct? Because I thought, and maybe I'm wrong, most definitely, is when, let's say, I call this, so let GL equal that, GL clear colour. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Now it's clearing in this side, but what was the legal invocation then? Ignore what I was doing with the stuff below. Like, I'm really wondering... Like, yeah, someone's saying tabs. You know, I'm actually been liking 8 size tabs. Just for these streams, 8's too big, like seriously too big. Ignore the thing I was doing. Seriously, you're probably behind on the stream. But like, what is going wrong? Like, I'm saying GL, and I'm importing it under that, which is fine, which is what I'm doing. And then it says an illegal invocation. Like when I was calling it. So clearly this works. Yeah. So we go back to this. Just get the clear colour. And we go back to main. Something's gone wrong there. Now, my assumption is I have no idea. You're right, maybe the context isn't valid at that point, which is if that's the case, let's not make the import a constant. Let's then go into here, imports.gl equals that. And it's an unspecified identifier, that's fine. Null. Oops, sorry, imports. And that is an illegal type invocation. So what am I doing wrong with WASM and WebGL? Like, I just want to bind the generator to do what I need to do. I don't want to do anything special to do it, if it makes any sense. Like, I would have thought this was more than enough to get things running, but apparently not. So what am I doing wrong? Sorry, I just got a glass of water. So anyone got any ideas? Because I don't want to wrap it every single one. I could always make a generator to do that, fine. But I was expecting I should be able to just import it and be done. So let's just read WASM type error illegal invocation. It could be. It could, no, actually one of the constants, I'm not even doing any of the constants because I'm just calling GL color at the moment. And it's not even being rendered correctly. So maybe it doesn't do JavaScript interrupters, I think, but I thought it did. And the reason why I say I thought it did is because of numerous reasons. So I'm just going to test something. Here. Yeah. Let's call this WebGL like this. And I'm just going to say clear color and do that, which is still illegal, but no, that's fine. Now I'm going to do is RGBA. Now it's working. So what I effectively need is to go through every single... I need something to do this automatically for me. I need to go through all the JavaScript entity there, find all of the functions, and wrap them. That is literally what I need to do. Just to prove this is what I need to do. Yeah? Yeah, let's just prove that's what I need to do. Ready? Get steady. Oops. Magic. So yeah. Okay. So there is something else magic going on here. So we have to have a wrapper. So JavaScript. So what I could do here is first do that WebGL, then I've got everything in there. So now I've got WebGL. It's an object. Oh, there's where the problem is. Can you see the problem, guys? Yeah? Oh, it's a class. And then clear color's native code. So I need to create... Yeah, it can't pass JavaScript objects yet. And they're not JavaScript. It doesn't need to be. So what I need to do is do something that does this effectively, yeah? JavaScript... So they have an entire tool to do this, really? Right, so my question, this is actually, I can probably make a tool to do this as well. We've got the generator is literally here. I'm writing in the generators to generate a tool, so it's not a problem to make a tool. Metaprogramming is trivial at the end of this. So my question is, do we have a big... Okay, so the first thing is, can we do variadic functions, is what I question. Can I have that be a variadic arguments? Yes? No? Or is there a... Is it an implicit parameter, isn't it? I thought it was like arguments like that. I thought it was like something like that. I haven't touched JavaScript in years. Yeah, it's something like that, isn't it? So arguments is special, isn't it, in JavaScript? Yeah. So question for people who know about JavaScript. Is it possible, can I do this automatically? Can I just expand this automatically? No. Is there a way that I can just like expand it? Because if this is the case, I can seriously, because I think there's an easier way of doing this, which doesn't actually require much at all. If arguments is not defined in one of them, of course. So let's just... You say with like ... at the beginning, or it could be afterwards, we'll find out. Oh wow, thank you very much for that. Seriously? Oh wow. Thank you so much. Spreads an array, that's exactly what I wanted. Thank you so much. Is it Ahmed Tariq? Thank you very much. Oh, I think I know who that is already now. I just realised. Okay, so we have now got this. We can probably make a generator to do the exact same thing, is my idea. Now, there's a question. If we have a big list, a big list of all of the functions in WebGL, yeah? Like, I just want a big list of all of the functions in WebGL. That's literally it. Nothing else. Just I want a spreadsheet of it. Because even if we had a spreadsheet, we could read it and then generate it for what we needed. Because then we can do WebGL crap. Yeah, they're the technical terms, by the way. WebGL crap. I keep finding these quick reference guides. I'm like, I don't want a quick reference guide. I want a spreadsheet with everything in. Nope. Let's just do it simply. Actually, first off, is there a way I can do this effectively? Which is, I'm trying to think of a nice way of putting it, but simpler than this. Because that's clearly working. So WebGL example. Now, will I have to do that request new animation frame to get animation in WebGL? Or is there... or something else? Yeah, if it's like an XML file or something, I can just paste that in Python and then emit what I need. I don't have an XML parser in Odin yet. I could I hate XML, but that's a different thing. Adding 2D content to it. Well, obviously, you just do a shader. No, I'm just looking at Mozilla stuff. And what I hate is that the getting started thing is just like a lot. And it says, look, here's how you start getting your shader running. And then here's how you write your program. And then look, you have to do all these extra steps and everything else on top. And now you got to do this next steps. And it's like, isn't there a term for this? Isn't it time to triangle? Or there's a special term for it to show you how long it takes you to do all this crap. The thing is, I'm probably going to have to make wrappers for everything anyway, because the problem is if I'm passing a slice across, then I'm going to have issues. Yeah? Because if I'm passing a slice, oops. Yeah, if I'm passing a slice, then it's not going to work as well. Oh, this is not fun. Oh, I'm going to have to make a generator for this, aren't I? But for the time being, let's just cheat and just do it manually. And be honest with you, let's just do it like this. And I know what you meant to do for those, so let's just do it. Let's do it. Does that work? Yes, it does. Look at that. It's a bit cleaner actually doing that, and it just gets rid of the noise. It's not really that much better, but it works. So we've got enable. We have depth. What is that? Let's just say code. We have other things as well that we want to do, such as and we can just cheat for this as well. Vertex attribute pointer, like we'll be wanting that, won't we? And enable vertex attribute array. Those should probably be functions, because what I'm going to do is the arguments thing. And there we go. Then I'm going to bear with. We're going to do bind buffers. So we're going to have bind buffer kind buff, or we could just do let's just do the old damn thing, and then we can do. Yeah, I'm that lazy. I am that lazy. Yeah, can you see what I mean? WebGL XML. First three things, yeah. Second one was Google for me, for Unity as well. Like it's useless. I know. I absolutely hate all this shit. I really do. So there's a reason why I hate the web, and I wanted to try and make something so I could get around it. So let's do that again. Let's just get rid of that. We don't need that on the side anymore. Use program. Uniform matrix for VF. Now this is where things are probably going to get a little bit different. Yeah? Because that needs to be a different thing entirely. We're going to have draw arrays. That's fine. Draw arrays is different. But this one is going to be one of the first where we're going to have to get the data out correctly. Yeah? Hopefully that makes sense. So we have all of that crap, all of that crap. we create buffer. Question is if I don't need to return. Do I? Just to prove itself. No, so I need to return from all this, don't I? Like if I did that. Unsupported token. Oh yeah, I'm doing Odin there. Wrong language. But yeah, now I just do return and it's not a problem. We've got create buffer, bind buffer. We need all the shader crap as well now, don't we? That's going to be a separate thing as well. Attach shader link program. Whoops. These are send custom. We're probably going to have to create a generator for all this, aren't we? So I don't think I actually have anything I could show with the first Odin Pascal style syntax. I don't think I have any code that I could show you with the Pascal syntax for Odin. It was before I actually started using version control, because I very rarely use version control for a project until I'm like, yeah, I should probably use it. Which might sound a bit bizarre, but sorry about that. Create shader. Shader source. Compile shader. Delete shader. Yeah, I'm finding this more fun than the debug stuff, to be honest with you. I actually am. Which is kind of bizarre, to say the least. But yes, I am. I'm just looking through what I need. Yeah, you're spamming me everywhere, sorry. Here's a spec. Okay, thank you very, very much. That is actually wunderbar. Because I know German, right? No, I don't. So this is the specification for 1.03. Let's do the latest. Like, wait, how do I? Yeah. So this is all the data for the thing itself. So if we can probably pass this, get the data from it and do what we need. But one of the problems I have is that every single one of these is fine, except for the ones that will have like sequence here or array buffer view or stuff like that, which I'll then need to convert it. Now the ones where the return type isn't void, so I'm just going to set create on here. So create, whoops, create shader. No. There's no create buffer in there. Create query. Gen, no. Bind buffer. Okay, so this is bizarre. So it's an extension, so it doesn't actually have everything in there. Okay, so create buffer. And by the looks of it, it returns an optional WebGL buffer. Now, what the heck is a WebGL buffer? Is this a class? It's an interface by the looks of it, but is it a what data type is it? Is it like a handle I could use? Because if it is a handle, then oh fuck, I'm gonna have to create a wrapper, aren't I, for all of this? I hate this. I just need a I just wanted an integer. I literally just want like the old WebGL where it's just an integer for the handle. How hard is this? At least there's only one good thing about the web, and that was WASM. But WebGL? Oh, sounds like I'm crying. I'm not really, but yeah. Pardon me. Like, sorry, this is the way I'm trying to look at this is that I'm clearly. Let's just look. It works here. Let's just say. Let's create a buffer. Yeah. And let's just call this buff the time being. GL create buffer. Yeah. So create buffer. And all it's going to do is return a U32. And it's going to fail on me because bind buffer, 2 arguments required but 0 present. So that's interesting. What arguments am I meant to supply? Because the docs I was reading. Yeah, the docs I'm reading say GL create buffer and doesn't take any parameters whatsoever. And if I look at the WASM stuff, create buffer doesn't take any arguments. But it just returns something it should. Fail to execute the bind buffer on WebGL rendering context. 2 arguments required, only 1 present. What? Oh, it's a typo. So go back to the console, and it looks like that worked. So I need to add a print I64 to this, yeah, because I've got print F32s everywhere. Let's call that print basic, yeah. No, let's call that print F64. Let's call that print I64. And the reason why I'm going to do that is then I can print I64 buff. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so it says WASM function signature and contains illegal type. Really? So that's interesting to say the least. So hello, Rashid Freak. So yeah, so what I've noticed here, as you're saying, is that it takes like the WebGL thing, but I don't think that's actually the case. I think the way that I was looking at this is that I thought you could just call this and assign it to that, but apparently not. And the reason for that is mainly because, I don't know, some reason. But I'm looking at this, and it says illegal WASM function. Now, actually, that's a good question. I wonder if the legal WASM function is this or the other one. Yeah, there's a type error there. Interesting. So we keep all the temp files, don't we? So wasm dot no, build, but yeah, I said it. Yeah, I keep all the temp files. So I've got print i64. What? I've just told it to be contextless. And it's being set up as if it has a context. Oh, that's in runtime. Whoops. No, that's correct. I was reading that wrong. So yeah, it looks like WASM function signature contains illegal type. i64 is illegal? Let's see i32 then. Seriously, like, I seriously don't see anything wrong. Now it works. So if I now return the buffer, yeah, let's just do that for the time being. It should be fine. It says 0. So let's just say for I0 equals 100. Actually, what am I doing? That's the old-fashioned style. Let's do the modern style. The reason why I'm doing this is because it should say 100 times 0, so it's coming out as 0. Seriously, that is such a weird thing. Like, it says an illegal type. How? I've read the WASM specification. That should be all hunky-dory. Like, look. Print i64. It builds, it says an illegal type. So we have to create a wrapper where you store this. Really? Really? But we know it doesn't contain an illegal type because an i64 is absolutely legal. Because the 4 types that are allowed by the basic specification are i32s, i64s, f32s, and f64s. And I took that into account when I designed the ABI. So now you're saying it's not. That's just stupid. That's literally stupid. Because it should work. Like, no problem whatsoever. But whatever. Yeah, we could look at the WAT, but I don't think it's going to prove anything, seriously. WAT Code Explorer. Open a file. Right, we've got this one. It doesn't have any of the names on it, so this was not the right one to use. Yeah, WAT to WASM one's a bit better. You kind of need to support extra stuff when you do it. So if I go to upload, There we go. So now we can look for print I64. So look, I'm importing it, and then it's taking the signature of T6. So T6 is a parameter. Yeah, it's perfectly valid. What the actual flying fuck? It's valid. Literally valid. It is a valid type, I know it is. So why doesn't it say it is? It can't be balked because it's one of those things like it shouldn't be balked. It's one of the most basic things ever. Stuff like this annoys me. But I digress for the time being. Isn't it kind of interesting though? That again, Odin's lovely. You can see the import GLs worked perfectly in Odin. It just worked like magic. There's again no other language kind of does that properly, like as simply as that. I mean, I am trying to not really advertising Odin, but just saying like, look, that just worked naturally. That's why I say I think the foreign system in Odin is pretty much the solution to the problem. Like libraries, it's kind of lovely. It's like, yeah, this is how it works. We associate this interface with these libraries. Done. I don't think it's that. I bet there's something else going on, which I'm not handling correctly. That's my assumption, at least, because I bet I'm doing something wrong, and it says it's got a type error somewhere else. So if that is the case, I need to think about something else. Yeah, there probably is a typo somewhere, but not here. Not in the WASM or the Odin code. Maybe in the JavaScript code, yeah. It's amazing how many locals are in here. Like, how many? That's kind of funny in just that one thing. But it's just like, yeah, fine, whatever. It's just because it's kind of a stat-based thing at the end of the day. So I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I know you're saying in the calling side, so I'm just going to put that over the time being. So if you look here, yeah, let's call this print in. I'm just going to give it. And that sounds like, why have you given it a longer name? Just bear with. There is some method to this madness. Okay. So the method to my madness was so I could then look at main LL, look directly for where it's being called, and look, there's the code. See? Nothing special about it. Which is... Yeah? So there's nothing wrong. There probably are very many lost videos of me when I was Twitch on stream. I didn't always record them all. Like, I'm not recording this one in locally just because I haven't. Because I know it's been recorded on YouTube, so it should be okay. But that is just so weird. This is also one little hack I did in LLVM to enforce correct representation of floats. I just made them sure that they were representing as a hex value, pretty much. Yep, it's like there are broken things in literally, like LLVM is absolutely broken with regards to floats. There's so much of it's broken, it's badly designed and everything. It's just like great. I won't go there or anything. So I do wonder. I have no idea, and I'm just going to have to ignore it for the time being, because that seems to be a bug for something else. But now we've got this basic thing here. You're telling me, Rashit Freak, we're going to have to wrap the entirety of WebGL. Is that true? The entire API of WebGL, which I have in front of me here, which is not that much. It's only about 7,000 lines. I could probably go. Actually, don't even need all of that. It's only a bit of it. I could go through it one by one and do it manually, right? Right? I'd probably make a generator for this, to be honest with you, and then it'd be easier, like hell of a lot easier. And what I mean by that is, like, I've got all the constants already, I think. Like, I can probably just copy and paste all these constants again. Like that. Go to the constants page. Look, here's all the ones in alphabetical order, but alphabetical order is probably not that useful. It looks like they're all const gl enum, all of them, which is good actually. Because that means I know what size they should be. There's now Odin. Just getting rid of that comment. We've done that. So now we've got all of that there. We can then look at all of the other things in there, because we've cut out, seriously, from there to the vast majority of it, which I could just, we could get a code generator or we could just do it manually. And to be honest with you, by the looks of it, it should be manual. Like, there's only 2 array types by the looks of it as well. And there's many different other types there. So the array types they have are F32s and int32s. F32s and I32s, arrays or sequences, it says. So we're going to have a slice, and then we're going to convert that into the correct type when we pass it. Right? So I'm going to look for any of them that have a return type, and many of them have any on the end, which is a bit worrying. Like, that's actually really worrying when it has an any. But many of them are void, which is absolutely wonderful. So the ones that have any, we can probably ignore them for the time being, because they're just querying. But unlike these get buffers, they're all different types of buffers. And then you've got delete buffers. So if that is the case, what we should probably do is make something that's distinct. So we have a buffer distinct. Let's call that a U32 for the time being. Frame buffer, program, render buffer, shader, texture. Yeah? So that is, in my opinion, that seems like a good idea to start with, because then it would ensure everything is being handled correctly, yeah? And they are the data types of that. Now, it does look like there are other ones with different sequences of stuff, but that's fine. We can usually handle all them. But now we've got all of these different things going on, we can actually probably go through manually. So a bit field I thought would probably be a U32, I'm guessing. Clear depth, depth F32. Clear, I'm literally going to type this out manually. You think, why didn't you make a generator? Because it's not going to change. Like, it's going to be there, and then it's going to be done. And then it says booleans for all of these. So red, green, blue, alpha. Now, I don't know what a boolean is in here. Is it a B32 by any chance? I'm going to guess it is. So then we have some of the other ones. So like compile shader. We need to take a shader in there. So the compile shader, I'm going to put like that at the end of them. So then we know what's going on. Okay. So then we can just, I'm just going to copy and paste them. Yeah. So these size things here, they're the same as like an I32, right? Or they're an int. Is it because geosize art, is that an int? In this case, I'm just wondering, it shouldn't make a difference. 32. And I'm guessing those are ints, come to, like, looking at them. Like, yeah, a generator would help, but I don't think it would. Like, you think, oh, a generator would make this easier to parse, and I'm like, well, that file, I'm going to have to make a generator to do that. And I'm not joking, I haven't got that much code to go through. So this may seem like a bit monotonous and stupid, but hey presto, I'm getting it done. Like, I don't understand who organised that. I'm guessing it's alphabetical order, to be honest with you, but yeah, for that, I may just do the old-fashioned approach with the, like, separate line. You know what? No, we can just do it on a single line. It's just because my text is huge. That's all. And, like, those can be simplified like mad. There's a syntax error there, yeah. Create shader. Like so. The next ones are all absolutely fine as well. I should read the Mythical Man month. Yeah, I actually have. Only a PDF version. I actually don't own the real book. But yeah, this is seriously just quicker. So now I've got to put another one there. Shader, U32, I32, int, int, int. And I put as a U int pointer, because that is technically correct. Oops-a-daisy. Luckily there's nothing in there. Yeah, so someone's saying, again, they're saying here, I love how Odin and Zig manage to solve problems a very nice way, even though there's a single mind behind them, and the ones with organization. This is not actually surprising whatsoever. So it's because the way you got to think about it is that if you have a single vision about where the goal is, well, that is clearly going to have a well-defined direction of where the goal is. If there is a goal and a aim where the person's going to design for, they're going to design to that. When you have multiple people designing something, there isn't actually a well-defined goal, and everyone else has got their own purposes and intentions and everything, so it'll all go in every directions. So that is why it will actually go all over the place. So if you want something with a well-defined like start and finish, don't get it designed by committee, is what I'm saying. But sometimes committees make a lot of sense for certain things. But this sort of stuff, no, absolutely not. In fact, it's extremely counterproductive to do so. Like I'm just putting I'm putting those things on the end there. Yeah, I'm doing the out sign just to prove, just so I can remember, oh yeah, that's what I've got to do with them. I've got to manually go through them all, while all the rest won't be manual. They'll be just damn simple. Like so. Some of these I can completely ignore. Active info. Like, I know there are... Active info has got some stuff in there, like an attribute is technically a struct. And size, type, name, and in this case it's a string, but it's going to be a DOM string, so we can't really have these. So we can generate the bitmap stuff. That again is trivial. Proc like so. Like that. Then these will have to be commented out. This one I'll have to do it as well. So it returns an i32, but we have to, both parameters will have to be handled correctly. So we have the program and then a string. And I remember the way I've defined the ABI is that a string will be passed into two registers. One's the pointer and one's a length, because it's small enough to do so. And also easier to deal with at the end as well, because I don't have to do a double deregister. So just put as much things into registers as possible is my answer. That's one thing. So that's absolutely fine there. We then have any stuff, which is not useful. We got the get error. Yeah, I'm kind of actually glad I'm doing this manually, even though it seems a bit like monotonous. All of that, all of it, needs to be commented out. Yeah, all of this as well, by the looks of it. that looks like I can do stuff with it. That's not a problem. Yeah, I was right, I32, yeah. Then we've got the rest here. I'm just going to copy and paste the rest now. They're context overloads. So they're all completely overloaded for different things, which is actually fine, actually, come to think about it. Okay, so we've got a lot to do still. So the questions, yeah. Well, a big part is being small, yeah. So yeah, it's not just being small, is that you got to look like Go. Go is quite getting big as well, and they're actually like the people who design Go. There's not many of them who actually make the big decisions. It's when you've got a small team of people who know what the actual goals and it's well defined and what they actually want from it. Having multiple people to get feedback is very, very useful all the time. I'll agree with that. But sometimes if you don't have a well-defined goal, you're not going to have a well-defined language or a product at the end of the day. As you're saying, yeah, Zig and Odin can do whatever they really want. No one makes them to make them lots of money and get mad about it. I wouldn't change most of the stuff with Odin, even if people throw money at me. I'd say you want a different language. My fundamental philosophy is, at the end of the day, there are multiple languages out there for different problems. Use them. And don't be afraid of using multiple languages. So these is textures things seems to be a bit silly in Odin because it's all completely type checked. So it's probably not needed, but it makes sense. It does make some sense at least. So many, so many. And then there's these overloaded things, apparently. Okay. Again, there's no silver bullet language, that's correct, but why would there be? And yeah, you have to be stubborn. This is why many people get really annoyed with me, and some people say you're just being about being purity, and I'm like, no, I have to be stubborn. Like, I have to be stubborn with the design. Because if I just even allow certain things to creep in, bloody hell, it's called feature creep. It'll just pile on and pile on, pile on. I sometimes have to make arbitrary decisions, or I have to be really grumpy and say nope. I have to be extremely skeptical when it's skeptical. Sorry, I'm getting quite tired. Just when I'm literally as I'm going to sleep, yeah. We're then adding new things, and to be honest with you, Odin's features wise, the language itself is pretty much done. There's not much else to add. Like, I want to add inline assembly, which will be coming in not the current next feature, but the version afterwards, which is along with the debug information, to be honest with you. And yeah, they're all. And that's my general idea. That's keep it simple. Like, there may be some minor things here and there with Odin that I want to do, but not much in general. Someone's asking what happened to the dungeon videos. I actually stopped them, and they have been pretty much archived, completely removed. I was not actually happy with the series whatsoever, and I don't think it was a cool at all a very good resource to learn from. There was many bad things in it, which I do kind of regret putting out there, but it wasn't good. There were certain one odd good ones in there, so I kept them alive, but in general, it was mostly bad. So yeah, that's the reason why the dungeon videos aren't there anymore. I32. F32. B32. I32. Int. This is the thing, is every time I put an int, it should probably be a... Dungeon was one of my series where I was making a game from scratch, a 3D game. It was a dungeon crawler, pretty much. I just called it Dungeon, is the name. And I just kind of stopped it because I really, really didn't think it was going very well. What is the GL size I type? What is that size? I can't remember. I need to find out. So GL size I is a long used for sizes. So it's technically just an I32. So every case there should be an int. It should probably be an I32 in every single case. And if that's the case, we can clean a lot of things up, by the way, just by doing that. Yep, that made more sense now. Thank you. Thank you very much. I should probably read the docs more often. I32, U32, I32, I32, U32, U32, I32, whoops, U32, I32, 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 F32, I32. Now these are uniform, what's it? Uniform location. So this is actually a proper handle again, isn't it? So distinct U32. So every time we've got uniform location, which is where we can get the uniform location from, don't we? Like that. And then the string is a string. So in every single case of this, we can then put it there, okay? So then these are F32s. Like so. I32. So every one of these is going to have an at on it. And so is that. Okay, so they're all indices. Like so. Like that. That's pretty simple. U32, now this is a slice. But again, we need to put that at in there. Then we've got the U32, the I32, an I32, a B32, an I32, and that's a uint pointer. That was simple. X, Y, that. Whew, that was a lot. So Dungeon was not about Odin. It was actually built on C originally. So it's actually just full on C++ with loads of stuff in it. Yeah, I apologise. I stopped. Yeah, I can always probably start something up similar again. I haven't got the time, unfortunately, anymore to do such a thing. I apologise. But again, I didn't think it was actually that good. There are many issues with it. Like a lot. And I thought just like, that's not good. I shouldn't be teaching this in that regard. So, okay, so I've got everything in this list now. And now can cheat and actually no, let's go on each line. Copy and paste it. We're then going to go into this lovely nonsense and look how many are in that crap. And look how many they've just added a line. So I'm just going to create a new file. And in this new file, we're going to get rid of all the new lines. This is where it's going to get really cool. Is the double colons. This may sound a little bit weird, but I'm going to make them equals. Because every other colon, I'm going to get rid of them. Yeah? And then get rid of them afterwards as well. The exceptions here are them. Yeah, so now we've got all the parameter names. Then we can then go pull them and do that. Then we can go to function, like so. We can copy the name across. We can go to every single dash. This is why we can say WebGL that. We can see arguments in there and return like so. Now every single one with an @ will need to be modified for it to work. So every time I've got a colon in here, every colon, I'm just going to copy a line like so. And then what I'm going to do is align that. Yeah? Actually, no, let's go to that. So then we've got different things on these ats, and we can clearly see what the ats are for different things. We've got shaders here as well. So we can get rid of the ats, like we can get rid of these. Anything that's got a return value, we can literally just get rid of the annotation. I don't think they work in Odin in JavaScript anyway, so you kind of have to get rid of them. Even if, for the most part, they are what you want. Yeah. Oops. That, my folks, is WebGL done. And I've got a syntax error on line 47 of wasm.html. Really? That's not 47, is it? Wasm, whoops, daisy. Fun. WASM HTML line 47 is clear color, and then I got arguments. Oh, that's the problem. I didn't put any colons at the end. It's not colons, commas. I'll stop in a few minutes, by the way. Like that. Sorcerer is just alignment. It's a tool. It's just called alignment. It's a plugin I can add for Sublime Text. And it makes things. Well, I shouldn't have done that. Should not have done that. Generate WASM. Set to HTML. Do that. Do that. Okay, so now I have the vast majority of the WASM functions for that context. Okay? So I'm only allowing one context for one of these things. Theoretically, I could have multiple contexts, but I don't want one because it's not going to work very well. Especially since the way that you'd have to... Well, I could support multiple contexts, but... Good God, I don't want to do that. So Odin does not have any resumable procedures. Like, I know what you're talking about. The artifactly coroutines is what you're asking for. As a first class thing. So because not the next version, but the version after, I want to support inline assembly, you'll be able to have all of the advantages of all of the inline assembly stuff. So you'll be able to have your own coroutines, is what I'm saying. So you should be able to make your own generators if you'd want to. I'm just not a big fan of them. Like, I understand why you want a generator for that sort of stuff, but I don't like them. I really don't like them. So that's about it. So I'm kind of happy with how that's kind of turned out. For me, I'd make this dead small and just do it like that, because then I can see what the heck is going on. Because it's just a code generator. It doesn't matter, really. I understand it's very useful for iterators. Odin does actually allow you to have iterators. So just to show you an example of an Odin iterator, for people who don't know, I'll make the text a bit bigger again. You can do an Odin iterator, but you have to keep the explicit state around a lot. So the way you do it is I'm going to have my own iterator, yeah? So iterator. Yep, and in my iterator thing, I'm going to have an integer. Pretty much just have an integer. And I'm going to have, say, max mum value is another int. Okay, so we're going to call it iterate, the iterator. It takes the iterator, and then what it's going to do is returning an int. It's going to take and then return a bool. So if it, and what we're going to say, if it dot x, let's call it val, just make it clearer. The val is less than the maximum value. You know what? I'm going to call this val OK. Val equals it dot value OK equals true. It dot value is plus equal 1. Return. Okay. So now we're going to show you the long way of doing an iterator with a custom iterator in Odin. So the simplest way is we've now got the iterator. I'm going to just put it in here. We're going to put the value set as 0, and the maximum value we're going to say is, we'll say 10. Yeah, this will work. Hopefully this will work in WASM, but it should do. I don't see any reason why not. So then, yeah. Then we're going to go for I in iterate, that iterator. We're going to print that 10 times. So, and it says, look, printed 10 times here. That's how you do an iterator in Odin, custom iterator. So it's explicitly just a function. It's a function that can return either a value in a Boolean, or two values in a Boolean. It does it that because you've got an iteration value, you've got an index, and then you've got is it okay? Does the next one keep continuing? Is it checking or not? Because at the end of the day, all of this thing that this does is your in4 value, you've got value, okay, iterate, it, if not okay, break. That is literally all that does. It's a very, very simple system, but it works absolutely wonderful. So hopefully that answers your question with regards to custom iterators. It is a very simple approach to the problem and not a anything that much complicated. So theoretically, I've just realized you could technically do this. Let me just check to see if that works. Nope. 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 Nope, because of course it's not going to work, because it's never going to, it gets reset every single time. So let's close that. I said close. I got it stuck in an infinite loop, obviously. I just realized, yeah, of course it's not going to work, but yeah. So this value, there you go, it's a pointer now. Yep. You can have an index here as well if you wanted. Oops, comma. And there you go. And the index was implicit, so we need to put the index in there. It's fine. I've limited it to 2 because seriously, you do not need any more than 2. And it's also because the rest of the language assumes 2. So like, I'm not adding any more. Just not. Sounds like a random arbitrary thing. It's not. It is literally there for numerous reasons. But yeah, it allows it. There you go. Are you happy with that? I know it's not as good as implicit generators, but it does the exact same thing. It's just a basic function that does the job. So there you go, some iterators in Odin. Let's see if we can get some WebGL stuff working effectively from what we have here. You have to define everything. It's just a function. As I said, that iterator that I just called was just a function call. And as I was saying, that iterator, this code here is literally identical internally to if I did this. So pointer, index, okay, iterate the contents of the iterator. If it's not okay, break. That is literally all that thing is doing. It's compiling these lines into a single line. That's all it does. That's it. It's just a function call with some state you're passing around. There's nothing implicit about it. And theoretically, if you really wanted to be really dangerous, to be honest with you, you could have a... the best way of putting it is you could have a thread local variable here and to do the exact same thing, but I wouldn't recommend that for numerous reasons, if you can probably guess. But yeah, there you go. It was something I added, and I only added it in like, took me only like 20 minutes to add, because it was useful to have. But, let's say print, and I keep that hello. I like the hello, because it tells me something's happened, and it's a nice greeting. So we got the WebGL stuff here. We then need to have all the different buffers, don't we? So, what was I thinking? Yeah, we have these different types. Which makes me think for a second. Let's just get rid of that. There's no point to have that up open anymore. We need to generate the WebGL crap here. Var web, like so. Var WebGL handles. Yeah. And all these do here what I pretty much need to do is a handle generator. So it gives you a new handle for the type that you're doing. It's pretty much like I could probably just say, hey, what's the length of this? What's the last one? Okay, add that. Great, done. So we can then just we can do this, like for instance, function WebGL get handle, and then in the handle yeah, so we could say we can get the handle. Oh no, it's not. That's not right. We can just write it. No, we don't need to do that, do we? We can, because we only need to get the handle easily because we'll get it. Because for this here, okay, so for this one, right, what I need to do is I need to get the shader. So, like, where's the string stuff is actually my question. Because I had some parameters that actually had some parameter string. So name, source. Name, source. Okay. Name, name pointer, name len. Name pointer, name len. Very simple, isn't it? And then source pointer, source len. And then it's same for the values here. Values pointer, values len. Now they are just simple enough. Yep. What does... Yeah, I won't explain that for the time being, don't worry. There's no point at the moment yet. So I need to just work through this code and get it. So I don't know JavaScript, but I do know Python very well. So is there equivalent? So in Python, if I want to get from a dictionary, so it's a this dictionary, I can do get key and then a default value like that. Can I do that with Python? So Python get value or default, because the default I want to do is just null, effectively. That's Python, yeah, that's fine. So JavaScript. Is the answer just getting it? Oh, I don't care if it's null. I actually want it to be null. Like, for instance, the reason why I want to check is I want to do this, and naught, because 1, 2, 3, 2 equals that. And then if I do naught, yeah, that's fine. 1, yeah, that's fine. 2, it says undefined. So can I make the undefined nil? So JavaScript undefined become null, I mean. Is that possible? Yeah, I do want out of bounds, effectively, but I don't necessarily want out of bounds at the same time, if that makes any sense. I want to turn that undefined to be a null. Right. Unless there is a get. Is there not a get on there? Like, I'm looking for the same equivalent of... yeah, it probably doesn't have that feature, but it's like, it's effectively what I want. Like, I know some people will say, I think the feature I do want is that, or null. I think that's actually what I want, because I think null takes precedence over undefined. So if that is the case, you should have shader, WebGL shader handles, shader all null. Okay. Same with this one. I'm just going to make it a bit cleaner to read, to be honest with you, because then it's easier. We're going to create a buffer. Var buffer. That's fine, but that's the raw buffer. So they're the buffer handles. We need to take... I want to get... the keys from a dictionary. That's not helpful. It's not a dictionary, is it? JavaScript keys, object.keys, yeah. And then JavaScript maximum. Is it .max? Is that what I'm looking for? So it's object. Is it object.keys, or do I have to do object? Yeah, it's object keys. So what I want is object keys. So that's the let keys, yeah. I then want the maximum. If there's a maximum, or 0 of the keys, like so. Max value, and that's math.max. And then what I want to do is create the index be 1 plus that maximum value. So I want to... I'm doing a very lazy buffer algorithm here, if you know what I mean. It does make sense if you think about it. It's a really crap one. Let's call that a handle. Like so. So that's the create buffer. And then every single other one like this will have to have the same logic. So this probably could be handled as a nice little function here. So set handle. So these are the handles. So that's a function. Handles. And then you got the buffer. Effectively. Handles. Handle. Yeah. So then all I'll have to do is the WebGL buffer. And wasn't that actually simple or what? Yes, it was pretty simple actually. Yes, I'm talking to myself. Yes, I'm insane. Don't worry. Or do worry. Whichever you prefer. I won't control what your actions are. So we do that. Like so. Like so. And like those don't actually have any arguments to them, do they? So we can get rid of the the arguments thing. That's a little bit let buffer texture handle. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is the delete. Actually, let's just copy and paste that. Now, delete doesn't return anything, does it? That's the thing about it. It doesn't return anything. So we can get the buffer. So we can say buffer. We need to get whatever the buffers are, aren't we? So WebGL. Handles. Like that. That says or null. So that's technically the buffer. So that's, let's call that B. B. And then we're going to remove it. How do you delete? Quickly, quick. How do I delete from a array? Python, JavaScript delete element. Is it remove? No, remove. Delete key. Is it this? I think it's this, isn't it? Oops. I think it's that, isn't it? You delete that. Yeah? Like, for instance, this one here, I know I've not actually done any work, and I'm just hoping for the best that it actually works. It should. I don't really see any reason why not. Program or null. Shader or null. That's perfect by me. That works lovely. There's another one which we need to do. So target attachment render buffer target, and then we've got the render buffer. Render buffer or null. Same with all them. But that's fine. The ones I wanted to do were like the source pointer, the name pointer ones actually, which are next. Oh, they are next. Or nearly next after this. So target attachment text target texture is WebGL texture handles texture or null level. So this is the next one where we have a lovely string going on. Get string, which is this. WebGL program handles, program or null, and then name pointer name length. That'll get us the string there. There's another one here that does something very, very similar. But in this case, it does another thing. So we get the uniform. It's got an attribute location. Oh, let me just check something. When you get an attribute location, yeah, it's just an int. But the uniform location one's actually even more special because we've now got a location to worry about. We're going to set handle uniform location handles. That's a handle. Lock. Isn't that wonderful? Can you see what I'm doing already? Hopefully it makes a lot of sense what I'm doing. It shouldn't be really anything special. These is things aren't that difficult really. Like, they're not at all difficult. So WebGL handles for null. And again, with all these other things here, this width, line width, no, it's fine. It's nothing. This one's the only other one there. WebGL program handles, program or null. Good God, why am I doing this by hand? Oh yeah, I'm insane. That's why. We already figured that out. WebGL shader handles, shader or null. Now we can get a string, source pointer, source length. The rest of them here, the only difference is we have the parameters here already. I'm not sure how to write all this without kind of going location or null, and X, Y, Z, W, and then go manually doing this, which is probably the best approach actually, come to think about it. I should go to sleep in a minute. Shouldn't take that long. But yeah, I know there is a terse syntax. It doesn't work because I want the arguments thing. The terse syntax doesn't have arguments. Short answer of it. So, okay, someone's telling me this thing doesn't work. I don't want it undefined. I just want to remove it. Like, I don't know what I need. I'm doing the is all thing anyway, but whatever. Both of them are just programs, so they're trivial to implement. People are going to tell me I'm doing some really bad stuff. At this point, I probably listen to them. Yeah, probably. But hey-ho, I'm this far already. Index. Yeah, these are the ones where they are slightly different, so we need some extra magic to get it to work. So like we've got the string get f32 array from pointer length. So we need to go JavaScript I want to bitcast it pretty much. So I've got the bit data here. That's not what I meant. I meant like a bitcast. Right, who knows how to go from a uint8 array to an float32 array? That's my question. Because I've got the data, I've got the pointers and everything here. Like, I'm going to guess the thing how I'm going to guess is I do an array buffer. It's a new array buffer data, or maybe it's actually a new float 32 array. I have no idea until I hit it, by the way. data, naught and len, uint array to array buffer. So it seems to like it does take a array buffer. Is it really that just simple, just to put dot buffer at the end? Okay. So this probably is going to crash. No, that was all perfect. That means all my JavaScript is actually perfect. And we got through every single line of code effectively. We just now need to finish off this stuff. So index, fine index, get f32 array, values pointer, values len. Okay. And the rest are all literally hunky-dory. So now we have completely wrapped WebGL, so we can do everything in WebGL pretty much now. The only things we haven't wrapped are these things. Anything with like a random thing on them. Like if it returns a string, we're fucked at the moment because we haven't got any way of converting it to that. So we'd have to turn it into two functions. One to get the info log length, then we'd go allocate that amount of memory, then we'd ask it to call it again. So we'd need some way of allocating. Or the other option is that, I know I probably made a mistake in disabled, and it is enabled, thank you. It's not this thing here, is it? What's this cap bit mean? Oh yeah, you're right. I have no idea what that cap thing means. Yeah, thank you, but... yeah, it's because I marked it as a thingamabob. So I thought, yeah, of course I have to do that, don't I? Nope. Nope, no I didn't. So everything else should be fine now, right? So now we've got this all defined, we can all start doing more WebGL crap. And everything should work. Hopefully. So that's my idea, is that you can probably do, literally even do a slice up function and it will work correctly. So we can have a position buffer, GL create buffer. GL array buffer. Again, I need to go sleep in like 2 minutes. I'm really tired. Positions. I'm just copying this off MSDN. Let's make it a slice, of course, but yeah, whatever. There we go. We've got positions. GL. But before I do anything else, it says GL bind buffer is not defined, is it not? Apparently not. Which actually does surprise me that I didn't add all those functions at the beginning. I missed a bunch of fucking functions. Oh, well done, Bell. Well done. Not. Really? Just really? Let's just add them in again. We're nearly done. Nearly. Do you think we'll be done in the next few seconds? Right. Yeah, we'll be done in a few next seconds. Yeah, those all need an and to them. Same with them. ampersand on the end of all of them. I don't want a space in the ampersand because it's keep it consistent. Red, green, blue, alpha. That's the same. Oops, daisy, and then same with this. Okay, now we can do the exact same thing again we did here. Sorry, this is taking a bit longer than I was expecting. Function. Actually, before we do any of that, actually, let's go to the triple dash. Return WebGL arguments like so. Okay, that's fine. And put the commas on the end. And I want to know why there's a syntax error. It's all these, isn't it? It's all these extra things, these actual things which are useless anywhere else. So there's a name, so name pointer, name length, buffer, we're nearly there. Oh, good God, this is painful. On every single one of them, like that, like that. Get, no, it's going to be, so all of these active things here, we need to WebGL texture handles, texture or null, program handles, program or null, shader handles, shader or null. Same with this, program handles, program. Oh no, God, this is, most people find this boring, but oh well, I'm actually not minding it. String, get string, name pointer, name length, target, WebGL buffer handles, buffer or null, target, WebGL handles or null, and all of those are typos, all of them. So I'm going to build that, do that. It says a key is not defined. Okay. Set handle. At set handle. Or keys. Okay, so now, just to prove that my sanity works, we're going to print an I32. Because that is what, it's effectively whatever. This is 0. Does it really? Console log handle. Interesting, because it's not. Oh, you bugger me, bugger me, bugger me, bugger me. Right. Can I get all the keys? I'm just going to see. Luckily, my code is kind of okay. If len keys.length, is that correct? Equals is equal to 0. I know it's just do whatever. Wrong language. let handle equals 0, else it says 0 here. Now it says 1. Okay. So, and just to put it in there, we can just print the buffer as well, because it will tell us if we got a proper WebGL buffer. Absolutely wonderful. We could probably make them all the same number and everything, do correct, whatever. Okay, so now we've got the buffers. GL buffer data GL array buffer. Now we're going to pass those positions in. GL static draw. Now I'm going to find out if this works. Apparently buffer data isn't in there. And it isn't. Why is it not? And there's some more things that I missed. Just 3 more. Okay, so we're nearly there. Bloody hell, I should sleep. I really should sleep. It's fucking late. Luckily, none of them proc are that complicated. And the only one of those both at the end are require that. Well, that is that. That's an int. That's an ith82. Buffer data source. So a buffer data source in this case is we're going to do the data and the size. Size is an int, and then we got usage is that. Data is ball pointer, size is an int, and then we got a offset as uint pointer. Okay. So if we go back to the WASM generator thing here, this is where it's okay. So this is slightly a little bit more complicated than it was previously. Function. Return WebGL like that. There's two there's 2 buffer datas. Wait, there are 2 buffer datas. That's interesting. One's pre-allocating the size and then one's passing the data. Well, if that's the case, Odin can't support that. So that one's going to be called buffer. Ooh. Anyone got any ideas which ones it should be? Because we're going to get rid of that one. Because I think we can handle the logic correctly if we do. Because it's slightly different logic to what you'd expect. So we got the target, we got the data, we got the size, we got the usage. We got the target, we got the offset, we got the data, we got the size. Comma, comma, done. So we got the target, the data and the size. We want a byte slice in this case, so get bytes from pointer len return data buffer. Okay, in this case we want to then do but if data is equal to 0, if it is equal to 0, we then need to do the other one. Else if that. So data, size, usage. Otherwise it's just data and we do that. Okay, so that's now overloaded correctly. This one is target offset and then data size. Expects 4 arguments, so it's got size of positions, and that worked, interestingly. That's actually really surprising me. That actually worked, because then we can actually set all this. So I think I might call that a night. I'm pretty damn happy with that. How much did people enjoy that stream? Because to be honest with you, that was pretty damn good. We got OpenGL working. Well, not WebGL, WebGL. And we have a pretty much a sane interface. Not a very good one, but a sane interface that's like direct. One-to-one. For Odin. So I'm happy with all that. And thank you all for watching. We are starting to get with the WebGL. We've got everything bound now for WebGL. And all the constants. That works. Thank you for watching it. It's not in the background, yeah, because I'm trying to do stuff anyway, and it was actually kind of productive. And I love that how well the Odin concepts map to WASM. I know that sounds like it's obvious, it makes sense, but no, really, they map really, really well. And yeah, I need to go to sleep now. So good night, everybody. And I'll end the stream. And thank you for watching on Odin's Day. Today is now Thursday. So, bye.